Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. So today we've got a brand new archetype. I don't know where this is coming from, but it's supposed to be a combination of both dragons and fairies. This is my first reaction to it, so we're going to see it together. The first card is the Dragon Shining on the Holy Night, or Radiant Sayaru. It's a level 7 light attribute dragon effect monster with 2500 attack and 2300 defense. The first effect is if this card is normal or special summoned from your hand, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. 2. It cannot be destroyed by battle with a dark monster, and it cannot be destroyed by a dark monster's effect. And 3. Once per turn at the start of the damage step, when this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster until the end phase. Also, this card can make one more attack in a row. So I'm not sure whether this is actually the boss monster for the archetype, but it seems to be. When it's immediately summoned, you can target any card and destroy it. That gives you some flexibility. You can target one of your own cards, which can trigger and use its effect if it's got one of those destruction effects. Or alternatively, you can go for one of your opponents. There is the problem of it, because destruction isn't as good as it used to be, that this is not a particularly strong effect. But actually, I think the other effects complement this card a lot better. The second ability to prevent your opponent from using any effects from dark attributes, that's really interesting. There's an old card called DNA Transplant, where when you flip it face up, you can activate its effect, and what it does is you get to change the attribute of all monsters on the field to whatever attribute you want. Commonly, this was used for strategies like Ally of Justice. Those cards worked against light attribute monsters. This works against darks. So you just call dark attribute and then all of your monsters and your opponents become dark. They cannot use their monster effects. Essentially, that becomes a skill drain for them. And they can't destroy your monsters in battle. That's one application I can think. There might be others. If you've got any suggestions, you can leave those down below. And the final part of the effect, once per turn, being able to banish an opponent's monster, it's fantastic because it's at the start of the damage step. That means if your opponent's monster has an effect which protects it from being destroyed in battle, you can instantly banish that card, and then you've also got a choice of an additional attack. That can be a direct attack, or it can be an attack on a different monster. It depends on your what's happening, but that's actually quite good because there are some cards that specifically require you to attack a monster. If you look at dual monsters, there's in the Duel Links, you've got Kachikochi Dragon that has that type of effect where once it destroys a monster by battle, you detach a material, but it must attack another monster, so this has a better effect from that point. Next card is Holy Night Rael. It's a light fairy type level 4 with 1800 attack and 700 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. When this card is normal summoned, you can add one Holy Night spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. And 2, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Holy Night monster in your graveyard, except itself, and special summon it. This card is really decent for the archetype. Just being able to search for any of your Holy Night spell or traps, depending on how they are, it's good, and it adds to the consistency. Not only that, but being able to get rid of itself in order to bring back another one of your Holy Night monsters means that you've got a little bit more flexibility. It's always better if monsters have multiple effects nowadays. The next card is Holy Night Astel. It's a level 4 light attribute fairy type with 500 attack and 2000 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. 1, as a quick effect, you can target one light monster you control, tribute it, and if you do, special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. So the one that was mentioned before is an example. The second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one level 7 light dragon monster you control. It gains 1000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Okay, so The thing is about this effect, the first effect being a quick effect, means you can tribute this card and you can instantly bring out a level 7 dragon. It might have to be a light attribute, but there are so many dragon types out there, so many light attribute monsters out there. Both are very common themes. You will have no issues bringing out those monsters. And really, getting rid of this to bring out something like that isn't a big downside. The other thing is, getting this card into the grave means you can use the banishing effect, and a lot of dragons you've got will have a decent amount of attack anyway. Adding another 1,000 means you can get over some of your opponent's stronger monsters without having to use too many effects. Next card is Holy Knight Flamel. This is a level 4 light attribute fairy type effect monster with 1,500 attack and 1,000 defense. You can only use either this card's first or second effects per turn and only once that turn. When an opponent's monster attacks, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. 2, as a quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one level 7 light dragon monster you control or have in your graveyard and return it to the hand. This card is also brilliant for the supports, because you can just get rid of this card and just bring out a level 7 instantly. It's just an amazing effect. A secondary part of the effect is a recovery for the deck. How this archetype seems to be working is just fairies supporting dragons. The next card is Holy Knight Bellfire. It's a normal spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Add one Holy Knight monster or one level 7 light dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. Then if your opponent controls a dark monster while you control no monsters, you can special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. This isn't a problem. Again, like I was saying with DNA transplant, you can manipulate attributes quite easily. I'm sure there are some other cards that can do that. Dark attributes are quite popular anyway, so more than likely your opponent is going to be running something along those lines. Next card is Holy Knight Sky. This is a field spell card. With the effect, you can only use this card's name's second effect once per turn. During main phase, you can normal summon one Holy Knight monster or one level 7 light dragon monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. And 2, if a face-up level 7 light dragon monster you control is returned to the hand, during your turn you can draw one card. So the additional normal summon is decent because being able to do that, it's not just a one-off effect, it can be used once per turn, so it's more consistent. You do have other cards that can do this, but they can often only be used once only. This is a continuous effect. It can keep going as long as this field spells up. And the other thing is, if your opponent tries to return one of your level 7 dragons to the hand, you get to draw a new card, so that's always a benefit. And the next card is Holy Knight Nativity. It's a continuous spell card, and you can only use this card's name's first or second effects per turn and only once that turn. During your main phase, you can reveal one light fairy type monster from your hand, and if you do, add one level 7 light dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck. 2, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. This is just adding more to the consistency. If you found that you've drawn too many of the light fairy monsters, then you can always just replace that with one of your boss light attribute dragon monsters. So you get a bit of a trade-off with that. It reminds me a little bit like a more specific version of Lighten the Load, which is a very old card. It was basically any level 7 or higher monsters, if you've got those in your hand, you can trade one in and then you can shuffle your deck and draw something else. And the secondary part enables you to just fuel your field by, summoning one of your level 7 dragons. So it seems to me that the theme is very much a mixture of both light attribute fairies and dragons, but it's not all too specific. There are certain cards that seem to benefit from just having light fairies as well. So it does give you a little bit more of an expanse rather than just having to rely on the Holy Knight archetype. Next card is Holy Knight Advent. It's a continuous trap card. You can only use this card's name's first effect once per turn. During the main phase, you can activate one of these effects. Target one level 7 light attribute dragon monster you control, return it to the hand, or 2, special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. So this helps with the field spell. This helps to add that consistency so that you can continue to draw cards. That's always a good thing. Alternatively, being able to special summon the monster instantly once per turn means you can just dominate your field. And the last part of the support, Holy Knight Blast, is a normal trap card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. One, when an opponent's card or effect is activated, return one level 7 light attribute dragon type monster you control to the hand, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy it. Again, this triggers the field spell to draw another card, and also it shuts down one of your opponent's effects. Being able to do this is actually decent because some of the solemn cards do have specific requirements or costs, usually either 1,500, 2,000 or 3,000 life points, quite a considerable amount, and some of them are very specific. There's a couple of them that are locked into monster effects, some are locked into spell and trap effects. Judgment, Solemn Judgment is cutting your life points in half, so depending on when you activate it, it can be a lot of life points or barely any at all, but that shuts down everything. So this has the nice little mixture to it. And if you're wondering what the list of current level 7 light attribute dragons are, these include Archbrave Dragon, Odd Eyes Saber Dragon, Soravis the Ancient and Ascended, Hieratic Dragon of Azar, Hyozan Rue, White's Dragon Ninja, Photon Wyvern, Seiru, Light Ray Diabolus, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, Kaiser Dragon, Michael the Arch Light Sworn, and Shooter Rising Dragon. Of these cards, the ones that I would pick out as being the best, Archbrave Dragon, because that actually banishes spell and trap cards. I wouldn't be considering the synchro monsters because they need to be summoned properly first. So the synchro monsters in here are Ancient Fairy Dragon, you've got Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, Michael the Arch Light Sworn, and Shooter Rising Dragon. And I would not be going for either Hyozanru or Seiru. Reason I say that is, even though they're quite powerful, Seiru, they're both normal type monsters, then they don't have an effect. You can use them for, an Exceed summon if you want to, but other than that, there's no purpose in relying on them. Hyozanru, I would say, is a little stronger because it's got a defensive side to it. It's 2,800 defense, if I believe, and 2,100 attack. Seiru's 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense, if I'm correct. But generally speaking, out of those, you've heard my recommendations. If there's any other ones you can think of, please put those in the comments down below. What do you think of this archetype? Do you think this is actually a good archetype? Are you looking forward to playing it? Or do you think it's a little bit redundant? Do you think it's not actually going to make much of a difference to how the game is currently playing? Whatever you think, leave your comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And make sure to click in for this next video just to support the channel and to see if you like the content. Thank you.